Fellas, welcome to the show. Drew, how we doing tonight?
Doing great.
Evan, my man, you good?
Glad to be back, man. It's going to be exciting.
Well, let's talk about something. I want to go right back to the last episode you were on. You said, I went back and listened to it the other day, that you loved being the underdog. You liked when people didn't believe in you, and now you are no longer the underdog. You are the hunted. So with that being said, do you like being on top like that, or do you still prefer the underdog?
Man, it's a whole different mentality. And, after this past midweek, I don't know if we've quite mastered it yet, but obviously, people know who Tennessee is now, and it's a completely different mindset than what we were dealing with last year. But, it's a whole different mentality when it comes to coming to the field every day. Because at this point, I think our talent level is, at so high to where we really don't have to play the best game every game in order to win. I think we have a combination of hitters and pitching and a pitching staff to where, we can go out, and if our hitters aren't doing very well on a particular day, our staff can kind of step up, especially like guys, like we have on with us, like Drew Beam, and whenever he's throwing like the way he is, all we got to do is get a couple runs. But our mindset is unlike what it was yesterday. But if we just come out and play decent baseball, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, no, I found it interesting because you said you really thrived on that underdog role, and I was like, y'all are anything but an underdog. Like you said, everybody in the nation is talking about you. Either, y'all are either the most loved team or the most hated team for what y'all do. But people get mad that y'all are having fun. But I'm gonna let Randy get into that with y'all in a little bit. But speaking of being hunted, Drew, I read that you're a big hunter and a big fisherman, man. Tell me about your biggest kill catch. Give me a good story.
All right. So, yeah, I'm more of a waterfowl hunter. So I don't, I do deer hunt every once in a while, but I don't go bear hunting like Russell over there. But yeah, I mean, I'm a big waterfowl hunter. So we got some property out in West Tennessee that we hunt on all winter and stuff like that. So I guess, I don't know, a good story would just be, killed a limit with my dad, me and him, and with like 15 minutes, we were back eating breakfast by, like 7 o'clock. So that was, real good, good morning, nothing too crazy, but.
Yeah, I think if I remember when we had Evan on before, Sean was the better of the two of you, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct, Evan?
He was a good fisherman, man. He enjoys going out on the water, which I enjoy. I enjoy having a rifle or a bow in my hand and seeing what happens there. But Sean can reel in some fish for sure.
And yeah, I don't do any hunting, but I fish myself, so I feel you. So, Drew, man, you're first time guest of the show. We've gotten Evan's story before. We don't need to hear no more about him till later when we talk all Tennessee baseball. Let's get your backstory, man. Where are you from?
I'm from Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
All right. And so as far as family dynamics, man, what are we looking at? You got any siblings? Your parents play sports. What's up?
Yeah, so I got a 14-year-old little sister. She's her team's cheer manager. So they just went and came in third in nationals this year. So that was really exciting for her. And then yeah, my dad played golf at University of Tennessee Martin, and then I played some semi-pro stuff. And then he's a administrator for a surgery center now. And then my mom works for our Chamber of Commerce back in Rutherford County.
So with your dad being the way he is at golf, did he ever try to teach you the game of golf, or do you play now?
I play every Monday now. I'm not that good at it, but yeah, me, Kirby, and another freshman, JD, we play every Monday.
You say not very good. We talking like in the 80s, 70s? What are we talking?
Usually just mid 90s. I mean,
I can play with you then, Drew.
Look, he's throwing like his fastball.
I've shot a few high 80s, mid 80s, but we stay around the 92 to 98 range.
Don't we all?
You hear me, Randy? He's just trying to stick like a fastball. He's trying to stay in the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
There you go.
But so outside of baseball and we're talking about a little bit about golf, did you play any other sports growing up?
Yeah, I played football all the way up through my senior year, and yeah, I was a quarterback and played football. I think I tried to play basketball once in middle school, and I wasn't any good at it. So
Look at that. Hey, Randy, man, a Tennessee baseball player who came on here and admitted that he was bad at basketball. You're a first, Drew, because every one of them claims they can hoop. We need a pickup game in the offseason to find out who can really hoop. So I'm glad you at least owned it. But I did see that you were a stud quarterback in football, no doubt. With that, baseball and football, you play them both. Which one was your favorite? Obviously, baseball seems to be your better one, but was it your favorite of the two?
I loved everything about baseball, practice, games. I loved all that. But football, I love Friday nights. I hated football practice. I could do anything other than football practice. Football practices were the worst. So I love baseball as a whole better, but Friday night there's not much that compares to Friday night high school football, especially in my county, which is a pretty good football county. So I love baseball more, but it's hard to replace Friday nights.
Yeah, no doubt. So with that, we always like to ask, who was your favorite athlete growing up? Who inspired you the most?
Ooh, that's a rough one. See, I never really had that one guy that I really looked up to or really,
Was it Evan Russell? Because he's like 35 now, so.
I could have watched Russ on TV whenever I was in first grade or something, but there really wasn't that one guy that I ever really, watched too much. But the one guy that, I guess I could say is Zach Kozar. He played for the Reds. He was their shortstop and then ended up going to the Angels and played third base with them. But he was a family friend of mine. So he was kind of the guy who I grew up watching Major League Baseball for. So yeah, that's really the only guy I really looked up to in a sense.
I got you. So, we obviously know travel ball is a big thing. What travel team did you play for growing up?
I played for Viper Baseball Academy. We were out of Huntsville, Alabama. And we were pretty solid.
And then as far as, you were talking about those Friday night lights and playing baseball, what high school did you go to?
I went to Blackman High School.
Yeah, and I see, right here, man, I'm going to rattle some stuff off. We always like to throw those accolades out there. As far as what you did and your standout at Blackman in two sports is we talk about, but you were rated the 239th player overall, number 9 player in Tennessee, 3-time perfect game preseason All-American, 2019 Class AAA District 7 Pitcher of the Year, 2019 First Team All-Area Selection. Posted an 8-1 record with a 0.15 ERA with 99 strikeouts. Man, just talk to me about how, because obviously we're going to get into what happened, in junior, senior year, but talk to me about that sophomore year because, those stats don't lie.
Yeah, so sophomore year, preseason, we had our last preseason scrimmage. Me and one other guy had one inning to basically prove to be the third starter. And I think I went out and, struck out 2 and the guy to pop up real quick and he kind of struggled through his inning. So I ended up getting that starter spot. And so it wasn't really, something I was up until opening day. I didn't know I was going to be a starter. And then, had some good outings going. And it just kind of rolled when I never really expected anything to happen. Kind of like this year, I wasn't really expecting much of it. And then we got on a roll. We went on a little win streak there. We ended up winning. I didn't lose my first game until sub-state. And that was a pretty rough game. But, everything just kind of fell into place correctly and, went from there.
Yeah, we've read off. I don't know. You're probably, like our 60th baseball player on here. I don't think I've ever seen 0.15 ERA. That's a gaudy stat right there. And you're doing the same thing similar this year. Not quite that low, but you dang near close. But, we talk about that was your sophomore year, your junior and senior year, man. You had injury and then COVID, man. How tough was it, battling through junior year and having senior year taken away with COVID and everything?
Yeah, so my junior year, we started out, we played 5 games and we went 5-0. And I think we gave up like 3 runs in those 5 games and scored like 50. Our team was going to be great that year. And for like 2 weeks after, they shut us down, my team kept practicing. We went to like our local park or whatever. We kept practicing and, thinking that, oh, we're going to have this great year. We're going to come back from COVID. This is just some little short thing. And then when we finally got that message that, oh, it's completely over. And it was just kind of like a shock because, I played with 8 seniors that year. So those guys weren't going to get a senior year, and I wasn't going to get to play with them. So it was kind of a shock to us that we weren't going to get to finish that season. And then, so, didn't get to play that year. Played a little bit of summer ball. There was some cancellations from it, but not too much. It was pretty normal summer. And then I get to senior year after football season, and I was, starting to ramp up, long tossing and stuff, getting ready for the season, and felt the pop in my elbow, and went to, was hoping it was like tendonitis or something. Took a little time off, and then it popped again. So then I finally went and saw somebody, and then got a MRI, and within an hour of leaving the office, I got a call back saying that it was torn, and I wouldn't be able to play my senior season. And it sucked. I mean, it was hard because my dad just knocked on my bedroom door and came in there and told me, and I just was lost for words. Like, what do I say? What do I do about this? But yeah, I mean, it was a rough time.
Well, it really speaks to the adversity you fought through and the resilience. Obviously, Randy's going to get into Tennessee with you, but with that, with junior and senior year going that way, were you committed to Tennessee earlier than that? How did you end up still at the University of Tennessee, even with that going on?
Yeah, so after my sophomore year of high school ball, I think towards the end of that, into summer, was whenever the coaching staff here really started looking at me. And I got my offer middle of summer between sophomore and junior year. And then I think 2 weeks later, I committed. So I'd already been committed. And then when the injury happened, I called Coach V that night and, told him everything. And he was like, it's all right, get the surgery, see how things go. You can finish your rehab up here. So, he was, it helped me calm down a little bit whenever he was, okay with things.
I'm glad you brought up Tony V, because Evan, I got a question for you, man. So I recently was watching a little hype video coming into the series this weekend, and one thing that stood out to me was Tony V saying, "We aren't here to take part; we are here to take over." Jim, and you talked about earlier, you went from being the underdogs to being, kind of the hunted. But to hear, you guys are a polarizing team. That's not a shock to anybody that's on this podcast, probably anybody that's listening. But when you hear words like that from Tony V, and that's probably censored from the stuff that he says to you guys, but what does it mean to hear stuff like that for a guy like you that has helped build what you guys have become?
Man, especially having younger guys, like Drew Beam, like Chase Burns, even Chase Donder, guys that are coming in and they don't really know what to expect. If you don't have your leaders and your head guy basically fueling confidence into the team, there's going to be questions that you're always going to be asking yourselves, like, do I really belong? Going into SEC play, are we going to be able to do what we've been doing to non-conference teams, examples like that. So, but to basically hear, your head coach saying stuff like, we're not here, to take part, we're here to take over. It's basically instilling into, the younger guys, what the older guys already know. Basically, like, my entire time here, I knew that this team was different just based on the arms. I had seen teams like 2019 Vanderbilt, those dominant teams I'd played against. I knew there was something different. And I personally could see that this team was going to be the way that it was now. But I think Coach V saying things like that is what helped the younger guys, get on board early.
Yeah, no doubt. So for you, a lot has been talked about during the broadcast about you making the transition to catcher. There's been some, I got to ask you, man. So there's one game in particular I was watching, and the guy says, Evan Russell hasn't caught since his sophomore year in high school. But then Jim and I on Facebook, you might have some family members, and they kind of corrected him. He said that Evan only really caught one game even his sophomore year. So first of all, is that true? And secondly, how has that transition been from starting left fielder, outfielder to starting catcher?
Yeah, so my whole high school career, I caught one game. It was just a game to give. I'd caught some bullpens and stuff to help out because in high school you only have one or two catchers. But I got back there just mess around. But I ended up catching a game because our catcher needed a little break, but I only caught one game in high school.
Well, you need to talk to the broadcasters, because I hear it just about every game. They talk about you caught in high school. They refer to it though. They don't say you caught one game. They said you caught in high school.
Yeah, that's false. For there to be any sort of, you know, I guess experience in catching, no, that's wrong. This is the first year I've ever played the position, which I came into freshman year and they tried to make me into a catcher. So I did some drills and stuff like that, but I mean, that never worked out. And there was actually a video of Coach V saying that, you know, I tried to catch, and that wasn't pretty.
I was going to bring that up, man. Tony V said some things, and it obviously is tongue in cheek, but he's made some comments about that, how that transition has been not only probably rough on you, but he might have made the comment that it was rough to even see the transition at first.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm not gonna lie, man. There was a lot of times where, you know, I was doubting if I really needed to even attempt this on my body, if I was wasting times taking reps from, you know, other catchers that needed it. But man, I knew something in me. I had a learning mentality of truly wanting to, you know, give myself a chance at playing a position that, you know, is kind of a leader of the team, and also giving myself a chance to keep playing at the next level. So I knew that, you know, I wasn't going to be afraid of the hard work, but I'm not going to sit here and say that as soon as I started doing the position, it was all great and all going.
I'm going to tell the people. I texted you, remember, you know, right before Houston, and I said, man, I need you to hit me a bomb. And you said, man, I'm just worried about catching. That's literally what you told me.
Dude, and that's 100% the truth, man. The entire fall, I don't know if I even took a swing off the tee when it came to like working on hitting. I dedicated 100% of my time to catching. And I think it actually ended up being, you know, one of the better career decisions I could have made.
No, I absolutely agree. So for you, obviously, the transition's tough enough. You're taking over kind of a, you know, a Tennessee legend. Pavoloni's he's a leader of the team, as you talked about, and a great catcher. But not only that, you're coming into a lot of these new faces. Obviously, you got the freshman phenoms like Drew Beam, Chase, and even Dolander coming in. He's a new guy. And then you got to catch a guy that's throwing 104 miles an hour, Evan. So, I mean, you're not even – this transition isn't just – we're not talking about you're pitching against guys you played with and seen pitch. These are new guys too, so you got to learn them, learn their ticks. And like we talked about with both the Chases the other night, and, you know, a little bit before we started here with Drew Beam, is that the coaches are looking at you not only as a leader of the team to tell them, hey, is the command good? Is the stuff still coming in as strong? So, I mean, some of those guys might be side-eyeing you, Evan. How do you take that?
Man, I think all my entire staff, they know that, you know, I do anything for them, and I'm working in their corner and stuff. And I hope they do at least, because I do try to build on the relationships that I have with each one of them. But, you know, I got to give Chase Burns and Chase Donder a little hard time, because they don't help me out on the base passes too much. You know, when it comes to like holding some.
They spent a whole inning talking about that specifically with Dolander, because they went back to that Baylor game where there were 6 stolen bases in one inning, and they were talking about how long it takes for him to lift and deliver, even when he's throwing a fastball. So they actually didn't blame you at all. They put it all on Chase.
Yeah, man, and what are you supposed to tell a dude that doesn't give up many base runners at all? You know, it's like, I mean, he's going to be, you know, pitching in the big leagues, and I just need to get out of the way. You know, I just need to make sure I get the ball back to him and keep the the strikes in the strike zone. But no, those guys, man, they're so talented, and it's so fun to watch, and it's so fun to be a part of, because they're going to play for a long time, and I'm going to be able to tell my kids, you know, I caught that dude. And it actually went pretty decent for my first year.
No, you've been great, man. But I got to ask you a question. So, you know, I caught a little bit playing travel ball growing up, but I got to ask, I've never caught a 104-mile-an-hour pitch. Is it harder to catch 104, or is it off-speed pitch harder to catch for you? Because, I mean, the block in, to me, that was always harder.
Man, I'll tell you what, the hardest person, although people do ask about, you know, the 104 and stuff, and it is difficult. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit here and say it's easy, but I'm not going to lie. I lose sleep on Thursday nights before I catch Chase Burns. You know, Chase Burns is definitely the most difficult guy on the staff to catch. And that doesn't take away from any of the pitchers. It just comes from the guy throws, 98, 99. He's got a nasty cutter. And, he'll accidentally cut his fastball. That's 96 miles an hour and it's moving across the zone. So he's definitely very difficult to catch, but I'd say right behind him is Ben Joyce.
Yeah, no doubt. So obviously, we've had a plethora of these talents, Burns, Dolander, Blade, Seth, and now Drew Beam. And you just talked about how you're going to be able to tell your kids that you got to catch some of these guys. But just, for you, the transition we talked about, but how amazing is it for you this your first real year catching to have a staff like this?
Man, it makes me look a little bit better than what I am, to be honest, because if you look at the walk numbers and the wild pitches and all that, they take care of me too. And I think that starts from Frank Anderson wanting, to have a staff that throws strikes no matter what. And, whenever they made decisions on who was going to be the Sunday guy, that was probably the first thing. It was like, who was going to get out there and be composed and throw strikes? And, they immediately thought of Drew Beam. So I think it just shows that it does help me. That is my first year to have guys that have such good command and such good stuff that, I can kind of just sit back there and get lost in the reps and let them have all the or do all the showing. So
what do you think,
No,
Randy? You think
absolutely.
they got the Drew Beam thing right?
I think, the jury's still out. No, we're going to get there in a second. But, for you, it's one thing you just brought up about being composed. The one thing coming into this season, and everybody can talk now, oh, we knew Tennessee was going to do this. No, they didn't, because preseason, they were not saying that Tennessee was going to be the number one team in the nation. They talked a lot about what you lost. And we know this. You guys lost a lot of talent. But
right.
obviously, the one thing that stood out to me is the composure, because you start to where when you come in, you don't normally see this much composure from freshmen, from Chase Burns to Drew Beam to the guys that are coming in. The composure has been, but I think to what you said earlier, having the veteran leaders like yourself catching, and you got Gilbert and Jordan Beck, and I think Luke Lipschitz is 39 this year. So you guys got a lot of veterans that are out there on the field with them. So, but I want to talk about you for a second. You talked about you didn't get a lot of tee time in the offseason, but batting 300, 8 home runs, 28 RBIs. As far as at the plate, man, how do you feel about your production so far?
Man, I feel like there's been a couple of times where I've let some at bats get away from me when it comes to swinging out of the zone. But I'm definitely hitting off speed better this year. I'm taking my walks, and that was kind of my main approach to the season was I wanted to walk more than I strike out, which I'm right in the middle of that being a thing. But the end of my goal, I think that as a catcher, if I can get on base and get some production out of my offense while playing, good defense and taking care of my pitchers, I think we have a great chance of winning.
How much harder is it at the plate being that now you're a catcher instead of an outfielder?
It's difficult, especially. I mean, I the past couple of weeks I've been beaten up a little bit. I've taken some some foul balls off my hands, and my legs have kind of been draggy. But I will say the mentality is a little different. I don't have as much pressure, and I think that shows with some of the swings that I take. That I'm kind of up there, back to having fun again, and I'm able to kind of think in the mind of what a pitcher or what a pitching coach wants to call in certain situations. So I think that's kind of benefited me. But, I've made jokes that if I was still in left field, man, I don't know if I'd be playing that much. I mean, we got a lot of talent out there, and I'd have to really turn it on, for me to start playing every day.
No, absolutely. So one of the things in the lineup, you keep kind of rotating 5-hole, 8-hole, moving around. Obviously, for most of us want to bat in the top, but if you could pick one, does it matter to you where you bat? I mean, it's a stacked lineup. Does it matter to you?
I ain't gonna lie, man. I kind of like the 8-hole.
What I tell you, Randy, your stats are better when you're back there. I said something to Randy the other day. I said, every time he moves up, he actually struggles. I said, when he's in the back, he kills it.
Yeah. And man, I don't know. For me, my mentality is, they're going to throw me, more fastballs, when in reality they don't. But I've convinced myself that they do. So therefore I'm ready for the fastballs and then I hit them, but I think for some reason I'm in the 8-hole and I don't put as much pressure on myself and I do much better.
Well,
Randy, I was gonna tell you, my favorite part was at Ole Miss game with them when I think it was Lawson that was batting in the 9-hole at the time. Anyway, he steps up and he was batting like 458, and the Ole Miss fan next to me goes, "Good God!" He goes, "They're 9-hole hitters batting 458." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "There's no rest 1 through 9."
No, absolutely not. So Evan, we talked about it, you being, a veteran to the program and just what it's meant to build this. But, you guys this season coming in, I know just talking to you guys, you believe that you could be special. And, the jury's still out, right? You haven't accomplished what you want to accomplish. All the accolades are great. But for you to be a part of this program so long, how good does it feel to go into Oxford, sweep them, and then back that up going to Vandy, which, by the way, is my personal favorite. I don't like any of the Vandy fans anymore after this last weekend. Though, anyway, we won't get into my thoughts. How good did that feel for a guy like you to have 2 sweeps like that on the road?
Man, it is completely different than what it was whenever I first got, to Tennessee. I remember going into Vandy my sophomore year, and we were hoping for one win. And, we were basically, we knew that we were not talented enough to take the series, but we were just scratching and clawing for one win. And, those times have completely changed. The whole mentality of going into Vanderbilt this past, a couple weeks ago was, I think everyone knew we were going to take the series, but I think people had a pretty decent idea that we could sweep. So, I think the first step is to be talented enough to do that. But I think the second one is to, have the confidence of being, able to go into a place and play hard and, not give away a win because you feel like you should. But, I think that the program being changed is, I think I was just a small part of it. I think we've had multiple people come in and change a culture and the way that, Tony V and Elander and all them, the way that they recruit, I don't see it changing anytime soon.
I got one last question for you, Evan. Obviously, the game doesn't go your way last night, but talk about the atmosphere of playing in the Smokies, a minor league ballpark, and standing room only, setting an attendance record, and what Tennessee baseball, from a fan support standpoint, how that's changed for you guys from freshman year to now.
Man, it is it's completely turned to 180 because I remember my first 2 years, they were trying to give away tickets for free just to have people come. So to see people, eager to come out and be a part of this and to see a team, win and succeed, I think it shows, the true testament of the Tennessee fan base, that they'll back any sort of program. And they've been craving a winning team for so long that now that they've got it, they're man, it's been a long time, but now that we've got it, I think they're ready to let everyone know about it. And as long as we keep that mentality with the fan base, I think we'll win a lot of games.
Listen, Evan, I said one last question. This is really more of a statement. Then I got to get to our freshman phenom here, but I work with several Ole Miss fans, and obviously I've been a college baseball fan for as long as I can remember. And I was a Tennessee fan when it really wasn't a cool thing to be a Tennessee fan. Going into the Oxford series, he's like, man, y'all are just a cool story, but we got this tradition. I'm like, bro, y'all ain't even going to win a game. So I was insufferable. All the things that people actually say that you guys are, that you're really not, that we know you're not. I was all those things leading up to the game, during the games, and when I came to work on Monday morning. Oh, he knew. He knew. But Drew, man, I got to get to you. So you talked you talked about how you had your COVID season, your injury season, and how what Tony V said to kind of put your mind at ease. But when you get to Tennessee, you get to Knoxville, what are your emotions? Are you nervous, excited? What was it like for you walking onto campus the first time?
Yeah, so I whenever I came onto campus, it was during the summer for that early summer session. It was just the freshmen, and I guess my first time being up here was with our old strength coach Q, and he kind of set me straight because I gained a little weight from my surgery, And he made some jokes at me, and I was like, this is this is gonna be a little wake up call. And so I had to put in a little more work than I was expecting to when I came up here, and it kind of got my mind on track that all right, we've got things to work on. It's just not going to be a cakewalk, and that it's going to be a grind from here on out.
No, absolutely. So we've talked a lot about, the staff as a whole, and obviously rightfully so, a lot of attention is on the weekend starters, but, we talked about it too. The depth of your pitching staff is it's phenomenal, right? You got guys all up and down the bullpen and all that. So, but with Blade and Seth, along with the two chases, I mean, when you're coming in, you talked about not expecting anything, but what was your expectation coming in? Now, obviously you're a Sunday starter, but you didn't expect that coming in, right?
No, I mean, this year I was really, my hopes were to be a relief guy and just like try and get some relief innings on the weekend, maybe compete for that Tuesday starting spot. But, I never had, the expectation of being a Sunday or a weekend guy. Obviously that's, was what I was striving for. That was a goal. But this year I didn't see it as, oh, that can really happen. And then, the injuries and stuff happen, and then, some opportunities open. And that's when I was like, all right, let's take advantage of this.
Randy, he's still under the radar. We talked with the Chases about that write-up I did on Tennessee before the season. And I take pride because I picked you boys to be this good. But I will admit, Randy, Drew Beam was not in my write-up. I have to own that. So, I mean, it shows that, I don't apparently either know what I'm talking about or you really did just come out of nowhere.
Yeah. So Jim rattled off some of your high school stats, and I'm gonna rattle off some of your college, man. And Drew, you're 7-0, 1.14 ERA, 36 Ks, 6 walks, D1Baseball.com midseason All-American, Golden Spikes Award midseason watch list, the Dick Hauser Trophy National Pitcher of the Week, Collegiate Baseball News National Player of the Week, SEC Pitcher of the Week, SEC Freshman of the Week, Pitcher of the Month for Dick Hauser, SEC Co-Freshman of the Week. Man, so going in, you're expecting to relief maybe midweek, and then you had all this success. How do you stay grounded and how do you stay focused and not let all these accolades kind of go to your head?
That's a big testament to my mom. Probably she's been, she's always there to humble me, honestly, because she'll, she just has her ways of humbling me. But she, me and her and the rest of my family were really faithful, so she always, give glory to God. He's the reason that, I have my success. So, just remember where I came from. And, if you get too high on yourself, then, that's just, you're just going to have a greater fall. And so, stay level headed, stay through it till the end.
No, absolutely. One thing I talked about composure earlier in the episode. One thing that stood out to me, the most impressive above all of your statistics that I just read off, is that you were recently talking about Blade Tidwell coming back. And you said that if he resumes his Sunday spot, that I'll gladly take a bullpen role. And to me, that speaks not only to your character, but it speaks to the culture that we were just talking about with Evan and what you guys are building in Knoxville. Tell us a little bit more about your mindset when you're saying those things. Obviously, I believe that you mean it, but tell us how you go through that. How do you come to that conclusion? Because you're dominating, Drew.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I love being the Sunday guy, but Blade's a great arm too. Blade's, he's proved himself last year. And, I think everybody's got the same goal on this team this year, is that we want to win. We want to go to Omaha and win and not just be a 2 and done. So if our best chance to win is with Blade on the mound on Sunday and then me out of the bullpen on some other day to, get some late innings, get through the heart of the order, anything like that, then that's, the best recipe for success. And so, that's what I'm here for. That's what we're here to win. That's what everybody wants to do. So that's kind of my mindset on things like that.
No, that's definitely, man. That's a testament to probably your mom again, right? Keeping you grounded like that. So we asked Evan about the Vandy series and what that meant from where these guys came from to where you guys are. But you, man, the most impressive pitching performance of the weekend, a complete game shutout against, you guys rival in their house. Talk me through that game and what your emotions are like. Because one of the things that they talked about the other night, Chase Burns and Chase Dolander, was that it's not just if your command is good and your velo is good. They're looking for if you're too hyped, you're too low. So talk us through that game and what it was like for you.
Yeah, so the 2 nights before had been really cold. They weren't too cold, but they were, they weren't sunny and, warm outside. And then, we got to the field that day and it was feeling nice and it was just a good day. I mean, everything had kind of rolled smoothly up to that point. And, we went out there the first inning, I kind of had some, lengthy at bats and kind of drove my pitch count into like the 20s. And I was like, all right, if I want to roll through this game, we're going to have to get some quick contact, get through this. I'm not a strikeout pitcher. I know I'm not that kind of pitcher. I know my game. And so I know that my infield could play, we're on turf that's even better. And so I was like, all right, we're going to pitch to contact. Russ and Coach A were calling a good game there. So, I mean, the whole time we were just walking through the game, not trying to outdo myself or overdo anything really. I knew they like to swing. And so we just, I threw a lot of curveballs that game too. So that was kind of their nemesis too. And it kind of worked out.
And I would say it did. This is a question. It could either be for you or Evan, probably maybe even more so Evan. A lot was made about the lights in Vandy Stadium, Evan. And I got to ask you, man, as a former outfielder, is there any truth to that, man?
Man, I do think so. I think that there are times where outfielders can kind of get a little, zoned out of the game, I guess, whenever not a lot of action's going, and then a fly ball can surprise them. But personally, it's never happened to me. But a guy, the right fielder missed the ball by 40 yards is what the announcers. Clearly, and was not able to see it. So
were both of them in the same inning that they missed?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But the question though, this just speaks to, and I'm not, obviously Corbin is a phenomenal coach. I'm not taking anything away from him, but Tony V said he kind of tackled that with you guys before the game with the outfielders. He said he was hitting them as far up as he could up into the lights. And he talked about it, kind of that dust to dark thing more than the lights. But man, how would you feel if they just installed all these fancy LEDs at Lindsey Nelson, and then they were the reason you couldn't catch a fly ball? It couldn't be me, Evan. Couldn't be me.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they were too happy about that one, because at the end of the game, you can look back and say that those fly balls meant a lot, and I'm sure they did. But they definitely had plenty of chances to capitalize on some of their base runners, and our pitching staff was really good. So mistakes will happen, but it felt like a sense of defeat was in their dugout after a couple of those balls were misplaced.
Well, Gilbert got one to about the similar location in the next inning and seemed to have no trouble. So I'm not biting on it. But I did want to say to you, Drew, in regards to the Vanderbilt game, I've had to deal with it on TV for years, had to deal with it last year in Omaha. The Vandy Whistler, man, he's obnoxious. And I just want to tell you, you're like a hero to me because he had nothing to whistle about. He was done after like the first inning. And when I can go through a whole Vanderbilt game and not have to hear that guy, you're the man. So I appreciate you absolutely silencing that dude.
Yeah.
Do you guys even hear him
much at all? I mean, he didn't have much to whistle about all weekend. So
did you happen to hear him? Do you hear him when you're out there?
When I was on the mound, I don't hear him, but in the dugout, it got pretty annoying.
Dude, in Omaha, it was so terrible. And when game 2 and game 3 against Mississippi State came around after the way they bashed him, they quieted him too. And I was like, that's just, I need whoever's playing Vanderbilt to get up early and then just silence that cat. Because once they're losing, he's out of there. So he's the worst thing in baseball. I don't know how Vanderbilt fans can even take it. I don't like it. But anyway, Evan, man, going back to when I said I messaged you about Houston, I got to give you a shout out because I asked you for a bomb and you said you're only worried about catching, but your first at bat, you hit a bomb. So I appreciate that. Gave me some entertainment, but I want to ask you, you got the Alabama series on deck, you obviously just took this loss. It's a midweek loss. It's, not a big deal. Y'all, I know it's a big deal to lose because you had a winning streak, but you know how it is. It's SEC is the focus. So how do you get back on track? You're a leader of this team. What are you saying to the other guys? What is coach saying getting ready for Alabama?
Man, I ain't gonna lie. I was pretty mad after last night's game. Not on the fact that we lost. Losses happen. I've been a part of plenty of losses, but I was kind of mad at how our team played. Just especially at the end of the game, it looked like we were letting pressure get to us a little bit. I don't know if it was the pressure of the big stadium, pressure of the wood bats. That stigma of us not being able to hit with.
They're taking that and run with it. Anybody who's a Tennessee hater right now is saying it's proof that y'all been cheating all year.
Yeah, and that's fine, but every other team knows that we check the same bats as their teams, and they can say whatever. We use the same bats, whatever. But that narrative, I don't know if it was the pressure of that, the pressure of us, being the number one team, but we definitely were not playing the way that we have been playing all year. And I was trying to. I told some of my teammates. I actually told all of them today. I was like, if you expect to be humbled, you're going to be humbled. And I personally do not think that we've been playing arrogant on the field at all. I think we've been playing with a sense of confidence and, playing hard in it. And to people that do not appreciate that, I think they can sense of it or see it as a sense of arrogance. But I think if we let that get in our heads and, put pressure on ourselves that we will be humbled, I think that's exactly what happens is, you expect bad outcomes to happen and they happen.
Well, your roommate messaged me before that loss had happened, and we were talking about, Sean, we were talking about how much fun y'all are having and y'all are being villainized for it. And he brought up exactly what you did. He was there just like you when y'all weren't winning. And so he's like, them boys need to have every bit of fun that they want to because they've earned that right. And so the people who don't like what y'all do, that's fine. But I do got to ask you with the loss, because the Chases came on here and said when Tony V is unhappy, it's not fun to say the least. They said it can be downright terrible. So after that loss, did Tony V go that route?
He kind of said some words after the game about how we didn't compete, and he was kind of in the sense of where I was coming from too, and he was able to communicate a little better. But he was saying that it's not the fact that we lost; it's the fact that how we played. We're going to look back on this season no matter what, and I personally think that we have the ability to be in contention of one of the best teams ever. That may be a stretch, but I think we've got the combination of pitching staff and hitting to where that is a possibility. Obviously, we have to play well in the postseason, but I have a lot of goals personally to be a part of a team that can win a lot of games. I'm talking about regular season up to 50 games. So, I don't care anything about my stats at all, but whenever we give away a win like that and we don't get beat, we kind of just let them have it. That's what kind of doesn't sit right. And it didn't sit right with V. And, that just comes from passion of what he's trying to build with this program. And he doesn't want it to go back to what it was.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talk about, chasing history. The comparison that I keep getting, and it's not even a close comparison, and Randy will even agree with this. This is Randy last year, not a fan of them, but he kept talking about Arkansas's dominance. He was all about they were every bit as good as, advertised. And obviously they didn't lose the SEC series. But one of the things about it is, as we've sat here and talked about all these pitchers, they did not have pitching depth, and that's ultimately why Kevin Kopps had to pitch Game 3 of that Super Regional. We're sitting here talking about Drew Beam or Blade Tidwell, so who's going to be, and then we know that Halverson's coming back, and then obviously how deep the bullpen is. I think y'all are a completely different team because y'all mash the way you do, but like you said, y'all's pitching is so deep that the teams prior years didn't have that. So I think y'all do have a chance at chasing history, and I don't think that you're delusional for that. But I did have one more thing going back to the Vanderbilt thing, because I almost forgot. It was a big story and a big write-up, and they were talking about during the game. What's with you and the whistle, man? You brought your own?
Yeah, I was, I kind of want everyone to be prepared for what they're going to experience. And whenever we went my sophomore year, the whistler was, he was very outgoing that weekend because, they had JJ Bleday, they had Austin Martin. They had all these big time names, so they could barrel the ball a little bit. But I brought the whistle, and I was doing it during the Thursday night practice, just messing around with some of our pitchers and stuff, and I was just doing it out of fun, mainly. But I also wanted them to understand, like, they're going to hear that, be ready for it, and whenever you hear it, don't think anything of it. It's just a guy doing his thing, and the real battle is between you and the hitter.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Drew Beam doesn't hear it. He locks in, and it's like in what is that, for love of the game, clear the mechanism. You lock in, you just don't even listen to it. But with that, fellas, we're going to get into a game called This or That. Evan, you've played it before, but you're playing again because we got new questions. But Drew, this is the way the game works. I'll give you two options. You'll pick one or the other. You can't say neither, and you can't say both. You got it?
All righty.
All right, so Drew, you'll answer first. Evan, you'll go second on every question. All right, if you could only pick one, the daddy hat or the fur coat?
Daddy hat.
Evan?
Both chases with the daddy hat.
I've got to go the pimp coat, man. Whenever you put that, it's warm.
Which is interesting because I feel like Evan made that daddy hat iconic. I mean, I've seen more pictures of Evan wearing that thing than anybody, historically. And so, but I like the coat myself. What about you, Randy? I've never asked you, Randy, what do you like better?
Pimp coat, baby. Pimp coat me.
What about if you're in Omaha in June? You still want that coat, or would you rather have that hat?
Pimp hat. If I'd hit a home run in Omaha in the World Series, bruh, give me two coats and a chain.
All right, so this next one's fun, all right, because your teammate Luke. What do you like better, the one finger touch of the plate or the checking of the bat after the home run?
Ooh, I think just because of the moment, I'm gonna go the checking the bat after the home run, just because it was so, I don't know, it really kind of lit our team on fire, and it was a cool celebration.
Man, I'm gonna go the poking on the plate, and I'll give you a reason, because we're talking about a dude he's 24 years old. He's an aerospace engineer major. There ain't a mean bone in this guy's body, and people on the opposing teams hated him touching the plate like that. And
Yeah.
I mean, dude, that guy, he literally is the goofiest guy I've ever met. And, people were saying, oh, you got to respect the game, all this. Well, dude, I mean, this guy is literally having the most fun time of his life. So I love the.
Yeah, that's what I find funny, man. Like, obviously we interview you guys, but then I've met y'all at numerous games now. And then I watch y'all, not just with me, but interacting with fans and the kids and everything. And obviously I see pictures on social media and events that y'all do. Like, it's funny how y'all are villainized in such a way because y'all have fun playing baseball. Y'all are all the nicest dudes in the world. Like you said, Luke's the nicest dude in the world. But right now, him and Becker, villain 1 and 2, and like everybody thinks they're the worst guys in the world. You thought they committed murder.
You know how it is, man. Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Exactly. But I'll be honest, I've never heard Jordan Beck even say a cuss word.
Hey, yeah, you can't. I don't think you can say that about Lip, though, because I think he was saying some cuss words coming around the bases.
He was, man. And that was the first time I'd ever, in my 5 years of playing with him, that's the first time I've ever heard him talking crap to opposing team. It was awesome.
The only thing I said to Beck when I met him was like, man, you got that hair flow going. And he goes, you like that? Anyway, he was feeling it. But, speaking of Beck, better bombs, Jordan Beck or Lipscomb?
Ooh, I'm gonna go Beck just because I don't think I've ever seen a ball go farther than when Beck absolutely barrels one.
Yeah, I love my man Trey, man. He's playing like an MVP player, but when Jordan Beck hits him, man, it's a little different. That thing sounds like a bazooka.
Looks like Thor when he's doing it too.
Hey, I'll give Trey Lipscomb this though, man. He looks the best in that fur coat. Nobody rocks that thing like him. He's certified.
Oh, bro, he looks awesome.
All right, better baseball movie, The Sandlot or Rookie of the Year?
I'm gonna go Sandlot just because that was probably one of the first baseball movies I watched.
I'm surprised. The reason I threw Rookie of the Year in there, and this came from the last episode I put in there. I thought because y'all were pitchers, y'all might take Rookie of the Year, but apparently, I mean, Sandlot's king to us as well. But I thought maybe just because y'all are pitchers, y'all might be feeling Henry Rowan Gardner. What about you, Evan?
Man, I'm gonna pick the Sandlot, and after I watched it, it kind of had me wanting to get, go to a swimming pool and fake drowning. But yeah, I gotta go with the Sandlot.
Imagine that coming out when you were a kid, like me and Jim. We did go to the pool and fake like you were drowning. The only problem was that none of them looked like Wendy Peppercorn.
Look, Randy, we talked about it. We actually, Drew, and we had an episode where we did we were picking best sports movies, and one of the things we talked about in regards to Sandlot, Benny got away in a PG movie with cussing numerous times and being like the coolest kid in the world, and like nobody thought twice about it, right? Like that's what's funny. We're talking about how y'all are villainized. Benny was like the coolest kid ever and did like bad things, and nobody batted an eye. He was the coolest thing ever. So that's what's funny about it. All right, so this next question, and man, guys, I got a different perspective after going to watch y'all in Houston, but I'm gonna see what y'all say first. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No. I don't have an explanation. I just
You don't need one.
You don't
You're
need
right.
one.
think it is.
I'm gonna
You're
have
right.
an explanation for you after Evan says no.
Dude, no. I think it might be.
Look, let me tell you, I was a no guy, and then when I went to the Shriners Classic, they had a hot dog sandwich there, and I actually had it while I was watching you guys. It was that first game on Friday. Anyway, that thing was phenomenal. So now I'm convinced. Now, Randy and Daniel try to discredit it because they basically took 2 hot dogs and they split them in half. So it's 4 hot dogs across bread. So it's not your typical bun, but it was still a hot dog, and it was a hot dog sandwich, and it's delicious. So therefore,
once you cut it in half, it's no longer a hot dog.
nope, it's a sandwich. I don't care what anybody says, even Drew Bean.
I'm gonna say if it's on a hot dog bun, it's not a sandwich. But if you put it on 2 slices of bread, it's a sandwich.
Look, hey, Brooks Lee from Cal Poly came on here and said, when you grow up broke and the buns are already broken half, it's already 2 pieces of bread, so it's a sandwich.
Facts.
So anyway, next question, Drew, is the glass half full or is it half empty?
Half full. You always got to think positive. Man.
What about you, Evan?
I'm gonna go half full. I'm gonna do the cliche answer, half full, but
You don't believe it.
I mean, there's not half empty is nothing wrong. That means you're just wanting to fill up the glass more. That's all that is.
yeah,
You don't believe
yeah,
that answer, Evan. Evan thinks it's half empty. I can feel it in his soul.
Yeah, I think I might change my answer to half empty. I mean, that's if I was looking at a cup and there was half water in it, I would be complaining about, where's the rest of it,
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm with you, Drew. It's half full to me, man.
No, it's half empty to me. I'm on the other side, but I'm a pessimist. So anyways, would you rather be the funniest guy in the room or the smartest guy in the room?
I'm gonna go funniest because I don't know. I just feel like
Chad Dallas once told us if you're the funniest guy in the room, you'll find a way to make money. I really don't know how that made sense, but I went with it.
It does.
Just because Cheese said it. That's the only reason you're saying that.
You don't need an explanation.
My first thought immediately went to money, so I would definitely go to the smartest. But that is coming from Chad Dallas. He is probably the funniest guy to ever, be in the locker room.
No doubt.
Yeah, but if you're the funniest, I mean, you can be a comedian. You make money that way.
That's exactly what he said verbatim. Y'all be studying these previous episodes. I see you, Drew. You listen to us. I got you. No. All right. So Evan, I can't wait to hear you when you get around to you. This is a new one for sure that has became very popular. But starting with you, Drew, would you rather do 10 years in a coma or 5 years in prison?
5 years in prison, 100%. I mean,
Why are you gonna lie to us, Drew? Right here on this episode.
Like, I don't want to
In
be
jail?
10 years. Yeah, you work out, you get jacked. I mean, yeah, it'd suck you're in jail.
Drew, you're way too pretty to be in prison, brother.
I get it, but like, I mean, that's 10 years. You're just sitting there in a coma. Like, you're not. I mean,
All right, hold up. We're not
That's just
talking about
wasted.
Rutherford County Jail here. Look, we're talking like Parchman, dog.
I mean,
Hey, my man wants jail. Let him be. Hey, you know what? A lot
Let him
of
have
people
prison.
said jail. But Evan, you taking the nap, it sounds like.
Yeah, no, dude, you can wake me up in 10 years, bro.
that's 10 years wasted of your life. I mean,
That's facts.
Well,
Man,
I mean,
after what
you're
they do
5
to you
years
in
in
prison,
jail, I mean, you
after
get
what they do
5
to you
more
in
years.
prison, you're a different person.
well,
Different
look,
person.
I've heard a couple. Look, I'll give y'all two different answers that we've gotten from two different athletes that's really made it hard for me. So we had a top 10 Bellator fighter on here who's been to prison say that he would take the coma. So when a guy who can fight that good and is that badass doesn't want jail.
Hold up, though. Y'all know why this man said he would not go back to jail? He said the food was trash.
But then Quintavious Burdett came on here talking about the 10 years in a coma, and he said he wouldn't want to do that because he wouldn't want his friends and family to see him just laying there like that for 10 years. So I was like, I was like, all right, so I got the Bellator guy saying no jail. I got the other guy telling me thinking friends and family going to watch me. That's why you can't say neither or both, because it's a terrible question that you have to answer, but you have to answer it nonetheless. But this next question, I was only going to ask Drew, but I'm going to ask you again, Evan, because I'm going to see if you change your mind from the last time I asked you. I'm going to start with you, Drew. Would you rather be the first pick in the MLB draft, but the caveat was you had to cut all your friends loose, or be the last pick and you can keep all your friends?
Man, I got to go with the last pick because that's picking money over your friends. But I mean, being the first pick, I don't know. Like I guess you can make new friends.
Hell yeah, you can.
Evan, where are we at these days?
Bro, give me my money. Give me my money, bro. I love my friends, but heck no.
Morally, I don't want to take the money over my friends. But then, like,
I do.
First pick, you're going like, you're talking about millions of dollars. So no.
It's been split each episode. So Dolander said friends, Burns said money, Blade said money, and Halverson said friends. So all y'all been split down the line.
That doesn't surprise me at all. Yeah.
Listen.
No.
I got heartburn though with the way that Dolander answered his. Right, he said that he was going to take his friends over his money and all this other stuff. Then I brought up the fact, I'm like, you can better your situation, right? He's like, yeah. I said, well, think about what you did. You started at Georgia Southern. You go to a better situation. Now them dudes don't even talk to you no more. So you chose, right?
Dude, yeah, I do not believe that either one of them would take that, bro. If you gave them the money, no.
Chase Burns didn't even hesitate. He said, my money, give me the bag.
Both those last two questions are different. When you put the bag in front of you, that changes things. And when you're actually behind bars, that changes things. So both those will change your perspective.
It's like you have a moral answer, and then you start thinking about it. It's like, yeah, it's out the window.
Yeah, I don't have morals. Maybe it's my age, but I'm taking money. I'm dropping GMDB, I'm dropping my mama's, whatever. I pick you up on the other side. But guys, you've been great. Evan, is there anything you want to plug or promote before we let you go?
Man, I've got some new deals since last time I was on the show, but my company Weigel's that I'm working with, it's the gas station in Knoxville. They got the hot dogs, the pizza. I'm also working with Crockett Creek beef jerky. It's a great snack, and Whimsy cookies in Knoxville. Every time I hit a homer, you get a free cookie. So if you're listening, if you're tuning in, hit up my places in Knoxville for some good food.
Look at our man killing it.
Hey, absolutely. And if you're interested in signing on Evan Russellton NIL deal, email info@bridgemanagegroup.com.
Yes, sir.
Look at my man Randy. I see you, Randy.
My man's working.
That's right. Drew, anything you want to plug or promote?
I'm new to this, so if anybody listening, they want to you want to bring something up to me, I'm down for anything. If you got any golf courses listening, I'll do something for some free golf. So,
and if you want to reach out to Drew Beam, it is at @DrewBeam_ on Instagram.
Yep.
And Evan Russell, I don't think I said it. It's at Evan Russell _3. those guys, it's been great. Like I said, reach out to Evan. Get my man Drew some free golf. Get him some NIL deals, baby. Let's get him going. Undefeated, ERA like 1. That's going to wrap it up for this week's episode. If you like hearing us average Joes talking X's and O's, please like and share us on Facebook, retweet us on Twitter, listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Comments and feedback are welcome. And as always, remember, strong bodies, sharp minds, grit and grind all the time. We out.